The federal government has been admonished to meet the demands of the organized labor, thereby reviewing the minimum wage to a living wage for Nigerian workers. This call follows moves by organized labor to commence an indefinite strike next week. Correspondent John Felix has more in this report.
After months of failed negotiations between the federal government and organized labor, the latter seems to have found solace in embarking on an indefinite strike action. This move follows complaints over the standard of living, hiking food prices amidst the dwindling economy. Worried by this development, the federal government has threatened organized labor if it goes ahead with the strike action. However, labor leaders have said they will not succumb to any threat by government, noting that they were ready to go to prison in their fight for better lives for Nigerian workers. Now that negotiations have failed, what next?
I don't think that there's any right-thinking individual that would deliberately decide to embark on strike if there's no fundamental need for it. And that is what we should be looking at. Our government should learn, to respect their words. They should understand that it's about the welfare. Fundamentally, their responsibility is to ensure that the people are adequately taken care of. The welfare of the people should be fundamental. And so if for whatever reason you are not keeping to your own side of the bargain, I really don't think that the approach is to go by way of threatening them or going to, talking about contempt of court. I really don't think that is the right thing, because it will only going to worsen the situation. A good leader should understand his or her people and understand their language, speak their language. When you speak your people's language, everything will go on seamlessly. So,
thank you. That can never be the best. We expect the government to still continue negotiating with the organized labor unions, because the labor unions will go on strike as they have hinted. What I expect from the federal government is to continue, sitting at the round table with the labor union to look at the pros and cons. We know that, as they have told us, that Nigeria is suffering from paucity of fund, like they have told us. But when you look at the way they are running the government, they are bloating it. Look at the number of ministers, 45. So you are still telling us that Nigeria is broke. So when you tell us that Nigeria is broke, well, with your action, it's showing otherwise. I would advise the government to not to toe that kind of path by threatening the labor union, because they are activists. When you threaten them, it will make them to get provoked, and they want to continue elongating that strike. And that strike can never do well to our economy. It's going to cripple our economy. So I would just advise. I also advise the labor union too, because we have been advocating that they should look at another alternative.
But then, what's the best possible solution to address the impasse between members of the organized labor and the federal government?
I would advise the government to continue dialoguing, negotiating with the labor union one. I also expect the government to review that minimum wage to make it a living wage, and not just a kind of an amount of money that when a worker takes it, he can't take him home. That's just my advice.
Well, first and foremost, it seems to is becoming a recurring decimal in our country, where government always fail to respect agreement. So in addressing this, government should be ready and must be seen to be ready by demonstrating convincingly that they are ready to address the issue. They should, of course, ensure that